Well, we seem to be staring at a drought burdened with a debt. Is the government's response to India's farm crisis inadequate? We're not just looking at the centre, we're looking at state governments. It should be mentioned that the rains in parts of the northeast thus far have been quite good. In Maharashtra, in Mumbai particularly, it has been good, but in other parts of the country, it's been extremely inadequate. Joining us now to debate this, a very, very special guest. First off, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, the father of the Green Revolution in the country. Dr. Swaminathan, it's an honor to have you join us on this program. I'm also joined by Vinod Kumar, the Lok Sabha MP of the TRS, and Sambit Patra, spokesperson of the BJP. Dr. Swaminathan, let me come to you first, sir. 43% below average rainfall this summer, apart from the northeast and Mumbai. In your opinion, sir, is a drought inevitable?
The drought is not inevitable. I'm sure there will be some more rain, some rain coming so shortly. But I think what could have been avoided is the kind of situation which was described in Telangana. Farmers going to sowing cotton seeds of high value. Formerly, traditional wisdom always showed that farmers never sow until what we call the soaking rains. At least for 10 to 15 days after sowing, there must be enough moisture to sustain it. Unfortunately, some of this traditional wisdom has been forgotten, and immediately extension agencies, I don't know how effective they are. But let me say, government need not be sitting silent. There is solution in the budget. For example, NREGA, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Program, should immediately be oriented towards agriculture. Agriculture, I mean soil conservation, whatever little water harvesting and water saving, more efficient use, and also new kinds of feeds for animals. For example, animal saving is equally important as human saving, and for that purpose there are special rations like urea, molasses and bagasse. Some of the agricultural waste can be converted into perfect food for animals. Therefore, I would say the first thing is Mahatma Gandhi NREGA should be focused on drought management. Wherever there is drought, is there immediately. Secondly, I think it is important to ensure that we have almost mandatory rainwater harvesting. It may not be done overnight, but this is a good year to begin rainwater harvesting as a mandatory in the farms and so on. Finally, Finance Minister in his budget talked about a protein revolution. I guess protein revolution means growing more pulses, and oil seeds and so on. These are also somewhat more drought tolerant crops. I would like to see that the protein revolution and drought management revolution both come together as soon as possible.
Okay, so lots of suggestions over there and a review of what really can be done, Dr. Swaminathan. I just want to go across now to Mr. Vinod Kumar. Sir, in Telangana, and you would have seen that story of ours, 3 deaths of farmers over there. They sowed their crops, the seeds had dried up, and the situation has become desperate. But do you in Telangana feel that you have a desperate situation because of no canal irrigation to speak of? Cotton, maize and paddy, which has been encouraged to be grown in the past, are essentially water guzzlers, that in Telangana you are now in a hopeless situation because of deficient rainfall. Mr. Kumar, go ahead, sir.
It's a fact that this year there is a deficient rainfall. In fact, the first rain showers in Telangana somewhere in the first week of June. But unfortunately, it is more than 1.5 months till now, except 1 or 2 showers. There are no showers. As such, these riots who happened to have committed suicide, they have initially sowed their with regard to cotton seeds in their farmlands. Immediately after they had this first showers in the first week of June.
Yes.
So this Gajwal constituency is in Medak district, which is in the Deccan Plateau area, where it is the most dry land area, and there is deficient rainfall even in good monsoons also. This is the reason for which our president, TRS president, Mr. Chandrasekhar, has chosen this constituency to contest in order to make this area into be cultivated under Pranahita, Chevella, a major irrigation
But
project
Mr. Kumar, tell me
proposed.
one thing, sir. You know, in the election campaign, the TRS had announced, among other things, loan waivers for farmers. It had gone and done this without any assurance or any knowledge of who was going to come to power at the centre, firstly. You won votes as a result of that, but on the ground, a loan waiver is not practical. Where are you going to get the money from in Telangana, and how do you assume the centre is going to give it to you? So were these false promises which have resulted in deaths now, partly?
No, not at all. It's not a false promise. We want to make it as a reality. You see, Telangana is not deficient in getting funds. Our state was surplus state earlier, and now also we are surplus state. We doesn't have any problem with revenue of to the exchequer. You see, our leader, Mr. K. Chandrasekhar, has promised to the riots who had obtained loans up to 1 lakh.
Okay.
Definitely, we are requesting the bankers to defer the payment after 3 to 4 years, and we have already got we already request the bankers and also sought clarification from the Reserve Bank of India. I hope that as and when there is some clarification from the RBI, we are going to go ahead with the loan waiver. We want to keep up our promise.
So who's going to go ahead with the loan waiver, sir? So who's going to go ahead with the loan waiver? The Telangana government independently, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because
and you have the finances to do that, sir?
Yes, you see, our government has assured the people of Telangana region, as we got the new state of Telangana. Initially, in the first year, we assured the rights of our state that we are going to waive the loan to the extent of 1 lakh. That is only with regard to the farm loans only, not the other loans.
Okay.
It's with regard to the farm loan of. So we want to keep up our promise. But with regard to the committing of suicides in Telangana region, it's not new to us, because for the last many years there are many suicides in Telangana region. That is one of the reasons first which we sought a separate state of Telangana. We had to irrigate Telangana under the tank irrigation, because Telangana is in the Deccan Plateau. We have very good rainfall. We have to hold the water in the tanks.
Yes.
Each village we have chain system, because for the last of 60 years, as Telangana is in the state of Andhra Pradesh, the rulers, they could not maintain the tank irrigation in Telangana region. So that is the reason for which whatever rain falls in Telangana.
Okay. Sir, you make a lot of important points. I wanted to, before I come across to Sambit, Dr. Swaminathan, if you look at Telangana, no rail canal irrigation, a pressing requirement for borewell irrigation, a desperate requirement for rainfall, because that is the only way the groundwater levels actually get topped up, and extremely water guzzling crops. In a state like this, is there any immediate way to prevent this situation from becoming worse?
There is an immediate way. The way in which we have to go is, as I said, learn from experience of the past. For example, the crop which was widely grown was castor. Castor survives and gives you 400 to 500 kilograms even with very low rainfall. Similarly, arhar or pigeon pea. Many of these crops should have been grown instead of the loan waiver is all right if the government can afford the money, but it's not going to solve the problem. It is going to be a very temporary solution to relaunch the farmer into the credit system. But I would say that we have a lot of experience from the past. The tank irrigation was the most common one, tank plus lift irrigation. The government has now said they will provide diesel and so on at much lower price. Much can be done even now to go climate smart cropping systems rather than very costly, expensive ones.
Okay.
And then I know if you sow cotton and there's no rain at all, that's why I said earlier, farmers used to sow only when there are soaking rains. At least 10 to 15 days the moisture should sustain it. So in addition to anything which is going to be done like loan waiver, the more fundamental need is to look at the cropping system and in land use system and tailor it to different.
Okay, so I just want to bring in Sambit Patra over here. a larger issue. At the moment, if you look at Telangana, from what we are told, there is absolutely nil credit from institutional lenders. The money lender is the person who dictates the lives of farmers who now find themselves in a desperate situation. Will this government think about some sort of large-scale waiver for farms of loans and things like that? We've seen it being announced and implemented to a large extent in the last government, but this becomes a bit of a trend. It's not necessarily a solution to a crisis.
I believe, very broadly speaking, if we were listening to the budget by Mr. by Arun Jaitley, paragraph 176 finds a mention of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, which categorically says that we are committed to see to it that whatever was promised in the Andhra Pradesh reorganizational bill, we will see to it that those things are delivered to both Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. And as my friend from TRS in fact has been mentioning right now, Telangana was always a credit surplus state. Contrary to what Simhandra was, and it was Simhandra which needs a bit of support from the centre, which is very evident from the budget allocation also. But as far as the drought situation is concerned, the government is absolutely prepared to fight a drought situation. And today, in fact, I am extremely honoured to be with Professor Swaminathan. And let me remind you that this government for the first time has taken many of the recommendations that were made by Professor Swaminathan in the Swaminathan committee report. For instance, one of the biggest example that I can cite to the country today is a soil testing system that Narendra Modi's budget speaks of. And Professor Swaminathan had spoken in length about this scientific method. In a nutshell, if I say that this budget is an agri-oriented budget and a technically promoting green revolution budget, in which in fact we have spoken of a blue revolution, we have spoken of a protein revolution, and the amount that has been subscribed as an agricultural credit for 2014-2015 is approximately a whooping 8 lakh thousand crore, which is itself a very huge amount. And as far as the drought situation is concerned, I believe the government stand should be extremely clear to the people of the country. There should be no panic situation, but the government says that we have enough supply right now. As far as rice and wheats are concerned, the buffer quantities are almost double that is supposed to be present. And of the 540 agri districts that India has, almost 500 agri districts have already been kind of studied as to know what the crop contingency plan is if at all we are hit by a drought situation. Though, I mean, the finance minister and the agriculture minister are hopeful that we would not be hit by a drought situation, and still lots of rain would be expected. But few important points that the government has focused is, first and foremost, rescheduling of the crop loans and providing interest subvention on the rescheduled loans in the drought affected areas. I believe already the RBI governor has spoken to both Andhra Pradesh chief minister as well as the Telangana chief minister, and by now that we are having this debate, notices must have been issued to the states about the rescheduling of the loans. Second important point, and very important point, is additional budget, whatever has been spoken of in the budget, but additional budget allocation under the Accelerated Fodder Development Program, AFDP, in the rainfall deficit areas would be allocated. So definitely if rainfall is deficient in Telangana, additional budgets from the central government would be allocated to them. 10% of amount has been advised that the state should keep 10% of the amount that has been prescribed to them under Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, RKVY, so that this can be used to mitigate the problems that arise out of the drought situation. And there are n number of, for instance, one of the very important thing is the diesel subsidy that can always be given to the farmers because they have to irrigate the standing crops. If we see that
that can be enhanced.
Yes, that can be enhanced.
Okay, you've mentioned lots of points. Dr. Swaminathan, do you believe that the measures that this government has taken so far are enough to sort of tackle the situation as, I mean, hopefully well enough before it becomes disastrous?
Well, the measures taken so far are welcome, but they are not adequate to deal with the very serious situation we are facing. Many more things should be done, and as was mentioned by the earlier speaker, the National Commission on Farmers had made a detailed recommendations, but they were all proactive measures. We are now dealing with the reactive measures. The seeds, for example, seed banks should have been built up of alternative crops, and as I said earlier, climate smart cereals, climate smart legumes should be done. But now there is no use in saying we could not do it before, but whatever can be done to help the farmers. There will be some rain, I am sure. We have to prepare to take advantage of whatever moisture we have, and we must save our cattle. As I mentioned earlier, cattle can be saved by special measures like special rations and so on.
Very briefly, sir.
Very briefly, just to say what the professor was saying, in fact, the government has enhanced the ceiling on the seed subsidy under various central schemes to see to it that if we at all have a drought at the end of the day, the farmers procure the right kind of seed and they are able to sow it. So the enhancement of the seed seeding subsidy, this is very important. The farmers should know about this.
All right. I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us this evening. It is a broader concern. Everybody is still hopeful that the rainfall, which everybody expects, actually does hit parts of central India, of northwest India, of northern India as well, where it is deficient at this stage. And hopefully this drought that we are speaking of is not an inevitability as it's now being made out to be. I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us.